And
about
then
the student
how many
loan?
people got PPP money? And then they all got that relieved. I was like, man, that's a slap in the face.
What would that be a slap in the face?
Bro, people was getting millions, hundreds of thousands in PPP money.
Yeah.
Government official. And they only gave 20,000, if that 10,000.
Yeah.
So
True.
that's why I mean, yes, it's a slap in the face, but it's like, man, what was the real cause of what's the real purpose of helping if your own people, the people that work with you, the people that know what's going to happen, takes advantage of it in the end. You're still the little guy still gets ripped apart.
Look, hell of an intro. I tell you what you info, but I never really been the type of dude to give no info. But if you see your ends low and you trying to get a benzo, I'll give your ass some game that'll change the way that you think, bro. Super skilled with the pencil, super ill in my mental. I reminisce on life, I'm nice, here's my memento. Get it through your tempo, I get on any tempo and give it all I got. I'm hot, I got like 10 flows, trying to live on the 10th floor. Across from residentials that I own, my mind stay grown. I used to think clothes, I really used to think hoes and what I do to get those. And then I switched it up, I'm only thinking potential.
What's up, everyone? It's Ronnie Polonius and Francis Fan, and welcome to the realest show on the planet of Earth, where we talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. You're going to essentially hear it all. So if you're ever looking for some sort of motivation, inspiration, or guidance, you're in the right place. You know, we make it our mission to make sure we can give you a place where you can consistently walk and grow. Just to get straight into it, I'm sure you've heard of all the student loan forgiveness that's been going on, or at least it's been topic of discussion. I'm curious to know, man, what are your thoughts on it? And I guess, yeah, what are your thoughts on it first?
I think it's better than nothing. It's an opportunity for people to start fresh. For some people to start fresh. For some people to, breathe a little. It's not perfect, but it's something that people can bounce off of and use that opportunity to, get out of a bad situation or be productive with that extra cash they may have.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's not perfect. I mean, what makes something like that perfect?
I think a lot of people have a high expectation of what the government could do for them, but yet they don't have the same confidence in their own ability. And that's in detriment to themselves. But in terms of what they were able, what the government is able to do and then provide, it's never gonna be, it's never gonna equate to the amount of need that's out there. But we can use it as a trampoline to then get to where we're trying to get. It's just like a vehicle. You're going to use it to get to where you're trying to get. So use this opportunity to get to where you're trying to get, whatever that may look like for you. Student loan has been around forever, and it's designed, to keep you within a certain bubble. But if they're giving you a break like this, use it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Use it to your beneficial to kind of get further. I was actually, when I was looking at everything, details of like just the guidelines and who qualify, who doesn't qualify, I kind of looked at it all and I was like, is this fair or is it unfair? Because I feel like it's a large amount of people who are kind of left out of that can't really take advantage of this, or better yet, for those that have taken care of their student loan debt already. Those people are kind of like just SOL. And it's like, damn, just looking at the scenario from that aspect, I don't really know if this student loan even aspect is even fair at this point, because you're rewarding certain people, and then you're not rewarding those that actually did what they, I guess, are supposed to do. Not to say I'm grateful for it, but it's one of those things where it's like, where does that guideline, where does it really where is the in between of it all?
I think this is the problem with the human society these days, because um, we can never be satisfied. You were begging and crying for something to happen to your student loan. You got something, and now it's about, oh, it's not fair. So what's next? Right? Basically, what's next?
I mean, put yourself.
After that, what after they try to make it fair in one way or another, then what's next? What are we gonna complain about next? That goes to say, it's just like, yo, there's always gonna be something to complain about. Be grateful for what you got, and make something out of nothing.
Right. I mean, look at it from a person that has taken care of this stuff already, though.
that means that you have the necessary resource to be in a completely different bracket, and you should be able to be doing some other stuff. You shouldn't be worrying about student loans at this point. If you're in a position where you don't qualify for this, that says something about what you can do right now with the funds that you have. That's just how I see it.
Interesting. So you wouldn't, if like, let's say you put yourself in their shoes for just
Bro,
6 months.
everything is positioned for a reason. You know,
I agree.
nine times out of 10, those who don't qualify for this probably went for some pretty extreme degree that took them a lot longer, which means they're already in the bracket where they're making quite a decent amount of money. You know,
Yeah.
because if you stayed in school longer for, for a good reason, let's say you went as far getting your PhD, those loans really don't outweigh the work that you can do out there. So you shouldn't be worrying about the loans. Your skills and your skill set and ability, you just, have confidence in that, have confidence in you, you know.
I don't think that's a confidence thing though. It's just someone, like you said, I think just having the skills. I would say clearly went to school for the right thing and make sure that they did everything necessary to make sure that their loans is paid off. I'm looking at it more from the aspect of that's free money that essentially they're not getting, that everybody else
How
is
many
getting.
people got the STEAM money? Not everybody, right? So you can't have
That's
everything,
fair.
bro. You cannot have everything on earth, bro. There's somebody out here right now that's probably eating a pizza, a wonderful made pizza. I'm not having any of that right now, just because I can't have everything. You gotta be willing to miss on certain opportunities because your time will come.
Interesting,
Patience.
interesting mindset. I mean, if I was on the other side, I'd be bickering right now. I'd be like, "Hey, no, I need at least you're gonna give me something back." Because
That's a waste of
no,
energy.
it's not a waste. Because look, I played my part. I did what I had to do. So because other people aren't doing what they're supposed to do, I don't get to reap the benefits of it. What sense does that make? That's backwards. And not
No,
not to say that you shouldn't reward those that taking
you
care of it, but you're rewarding those that haven't done anything about it, or
yes, because
probably
those are the people who need help.
okay.
Those
So
are the people who need help. You were able to figure it out. You genius, right? You did all the work. So now we're gonna tax you to be able to help other understand also that they can do the same. What's wrong with that?
well, you're gonna tax me for everybody having the same ability to do whatever it is that they want to go do.
But some people need a little extra hand.
Okay, well,
Some people need a little
this
extra
is their
hand.
extra hand, is what you're saying.
Yeah, this is the
Okay,
extra hand.
so what if they still don't do nothing? Then what?
Well, that's up to Mother Nature and its course.
Mother Nature.
Yeah.
What Mother Nature got to
I
do
mean,
with
you see
this?
it every day. You see it every day. Some people don't learn from their lessons. Some people don't learn from their lesson, and they repeat the same cycle. They stay in the same bubble. They have the same habits that are a detriment to their own health. So when you're stuck in that loop, it's not about the resources or opportunity that are provided to you. It's more about you and your identity and the like of, self-control, self-discipline, self whatever. But you need to look in the mirror and say, okay, this is what I value and this is what I don't value. But yeah, in an extent, it's just not to drift away from the topic. But
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
so what you're saying, essentially saying it's okay to continuously bail people out.
I'm not saying you gotta have a certain amount of restriction. You gotta have. I didn't. Don't put word in my mouth that I didn't have.
That's
You
what
gotta have
that's
restriction.
what you're
Nah,
saying. There's restriction as
I'm
for other.
saying that there are people that need extra hand just as much as your child need extra hand to learn certain things. It's not bad to learn. Some people see it as like, oh, I'm weak. It's not bad to learn. This is an opportunity for people to learn. All right, look, I just got handed, in soccer term, a yellow card, right? Because this is like a warning, yo. Next time you decide to get some debt, be ready to pay for them.
Hmm.
So I just got handed that. Now, what's the lesson here? How do you teach the next generation not to make the same mistakes that you made?
Yeah.
Right. So how do you teach your own kids or your cousins or your brother or anybody, your parents who might be want to go back to school? Like how do you teach them to be cautious when it comes to taking student loans? that's another conversation in itself. We're just looking at the dollar sign, but we're not having the conversation about the amount of education that needs to go in terms of bringing awareness to, student loan. We're
Right.
expecting some of these to be, oh, this community college could be free, or so the government's gonna make school free. No, but what kind of proactive actions are we taking to get ahead of that curve in terms of like the education and knowledge that we have around this subject?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I appreciate those that qualify for it. I appreciate those that don't qualify for it. I appreciate those that are doing something who are not doing anything. I'm more trying to understand, like, when is enough in terms of what is a person given as to what is their what do they earn or what they're
Look at the
rewarded for.
look. You gotta. I mean, that's what they already have in place with the Social Security. With
Yeah.
the what they call it, uh,
So,
income to debt ratio. Things like that. These are things that are put in place to look at. Okay, is a person financially able to pay their own debt? You know, uh, payment history, stuff like that.
okay.
Amount of inquiries that you may have had. Those are things that if it's a red flag, no, you shouldn't be qualified for that. So I think, to your argument of making this fair, what will be fair if they put instructions, or I guess rules and regulation that level the playing field for everybody to see if they qualify, rather than
Mhm.
just picking a pool of individual that already qualify automatically based off
Yeah.
of so and so they may have done when they were in college.
Yeah, and I don't even want to kind of go back and forth to see what is fair and unfair. I really want people to really kind of see, like, there's something that you are given today, tomorrow, next month, whenever the thing hits. Take it and use it to your advantage, as Francis already mentioned multiple times. Use it to, whether that's help your kids understand what that means, understand what student that means, or just understand in general what it means to actually go to college and get an education at a risk, or help them maybe not even have to take anything out. I think that's the bigger picture of this conversation here today, is understand, like, hey, even though you're getting, I guess, a break is what we can call it, use this break to help yourself get in another position, as Francis mentioned, like the vehicle aspect. You use a vehicle to get you from point A to point B. Now you're essentially getting that, right? You're getting that, you're in between it before that B, which is essentially paying off your student loans completely off. You're in that middle, right? Hopefully you're at that middle mark where now you're a little bit closer to it. So what are you going to do to get there completely? However, let's switch gears a bit, because obviously, I don't know if you know, Francis, but the White House is a Twitter account. They were actually tweeting back at a bunch of other individuals, stating how, because I guess a lot of, I'm not going to say who, but a lot of people were bickering that, hey, why are people getting the student loan forgiveness, whereas if you look at the PPP money, a lot of people got those forgiven. So in a situation like that, I'm not going to say what is fair, what is unfair, but I kind of see things as like two different worlds. And I don't know if I'm seeing things completely different, or if I'm right on point with how I'm seeing it. Whereas, people get something forgiven when it comes to business, but it's almost a extreme fight to get something that's gonna, I think, essentially help the entire economy and as a whole, with just people and the consumers to be able to kind of live their lives. But however, kind of go back to what I was saying is, do you see the difference in between the two, or is it just me tripping in my own mind?
I don't see any difference. I think there's a reason why these things are working out the way it's working. Obviously the agenda is to have money circulating out there, and money is not quite circulating as it should be because
Mm.
people are scared. So these are incentive and action that are being taken for people to be able to spend money. What do you think when they tell you, somebody walk to your door and say, yo, you got 20,000 forgiven? You're gonna go shopping the next day, right? Because now you got extra money to to do some other stuff. Oh, that monthly payment, you don't have to pay whatever. If it was 150 or 170, you don't have to pay that much now. It's if you still have debt, it's gonna be maybe 80, 90, whatever. I don't know what the case would be, but essentially that's 20,000 or 10,000 that you don't have to pay back, or whatever, if the amount is in between, right?
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think just let it work its course.
But that PPP money was never debt.
It wasn't debt, but it was to keep people running. If you don't have people running, then you yourself are not running. You're not running. So for this country to operate, money needs to be moving. And if the money is not moving, we have a problem.
Yeah, I
So by doing
totally
things
agree.
like the steamy, by doing things like slashing debt down for people who cannot pay them, they are absorbing those hits, which 9 times out of 10, the higher class is going to pay for it.
The higher
Uh,
or the lower? Be careful now.
I think it could be depending on who's in office. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, I would say that's a slippery slope right there in terms of who's gonna really reap.
Somebody's gonna pay for it. It's not just gonna go in the ocean and just disappear. It's somebody's gonna have to pay for all these things that are being put in place.
And I would say it's the least educated that pays for it. Honestly.
yeah, that goes back to my point. What are we doing to get ahead of the curve? How are we educating each other to say, hey, yo, do you know that you can do this and this and this and this and this and this to avoid this?
Right. Yeah. I kind of want to bring up that PPP aspect just to show people and kind of get another perspective and understanding that, there was people who took money out for their business and immediately, well, no, I wouldn't say immediately, but it was way faster than student loan forgiveness even wasn't a topic of discussion. But those those individuals that took it out for their business, they were able to get that forgiven quicker than student loan forgiveness was even a discussion. So allow that, just that thought right there to really understand, like, hey, why were they able to get that money, I guess, forgiven quicker than? Well, I don't need for you to explain. I get it. It's an asset. It's an asset to who though?
It's an asset to the government. The fact that they were able to give you the PPP money, and you're gonna be out there producing more circulation. You're gonna be producing more money. You're gonna multiply what they gave
The
you, which
business
is good for them in the tax incentive.
The government
So,
didn't tell you to get
but
into
with
business.
the student loan, that's money they just have to eat back up. It's not grown legs for them in any way, shape, or form.
So it's dead
That's
weight.
why they're reluctant. That's why some of these things are like it's dragging. It's easy to pull the plug on something that's gonna make you money.
So it's dead weight, essentially what you're saying, student loan debt.
Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, so you think it's
because
I'm not gonna put words in your mouth.
You're gambling on the student going out there, bringing return on investment.
Yeah, by making them go to school for X amount of years to then go to college.
What's the percentage of those who are taking the student loans are actually making it through and paying that return on investment back?
I can blame
positive level.
Hold on.
It's already dead.
I can blame all the businesses then, because at that point in time, who the businesses are paying the college students. So therefore, if you're telling me that the college student goes to college and doesn't get a great job and hopefully gets a job, right? They're not getting enough to go ahead and pay off their student loans. Well, then we have to look back at the businesses and say, yo, why are you not paying enough so that these people can live? Like the words live in itself is crazy for me to even say. Right. So in itself, it's, yes, we can go ahead and look at the college student graduated. They did what I guess this country wants everybody to do: go to school, get an education, graduate, go get a job. But when you go get that job, what are they paying? So now we got to look at the business owner and say, yo, what are you doing to make sure that the people that your employees are getting enough so that they can take care of that student loan debt? I think that right there is the gap. That right there is the hole, is what I think personally should be fixed, but I don't think it would ever will, to be honest with you. So that's why I really go ahead and say to everyone,
what will not be fixed?
The gap between a person getting enough to live and what the businesses is going to make.
That's
because essentially you pay people more, you lose more revenue. Lose more revenue, you can't do nearly as much as what you want to do. So now you're stuck in that cycle, that loophole. So who really reaps the benefits and who gets hurt the most? Reaps the benefits is obviously going to be the business. Who gets hurt the most is the person, the employee, immediately. Like, there's no question. They'll let you go within a heartbeat before they go ahead and cut down their revenue.
Yeah, but for the employee perspective, it's that or not having a job. What do you do?
So then if that goes back to my question, it's all right. So what kind of jobs are we even bringing to the United States to help people make sure that or what kind of jobs are we bringing here so that they actually is worth that dollar amount?
I think it's hard to say now. It's very hard to say, and it sucks to say, because I think everybody's job is that a lot of people's job is basically at risk with the increased development of AI.
Yeah, that's another
Which is
conversation.
no, I mean it's reducing. Think about this, for example, on a financial level. What person at Wall Street can compete with AI right now?
Are you serious?
I mean, in terms of like crunching down numbers and data, who will produce the more efficient in a short period of time between a human being and a machine that's programmed to operate within a certain parameter?
AI is definitely going to kill any human being without a doubt.
Right.
But AI
That's what I'm
can't
saying.
adapt to the circumstances of what's going on in the real world. I think that's where you kind of lose me. It's AI is not going to understand COVID.
We're not gonna talk about, but AI has the ability to collect data that then filter through a certain pattern, and by that it can identify the same way we identify what COVID is. It's just a matter of collecting enough data. It's possible, but I don't want to get into AI right now. We're talking student loan today.
Yeah, no, that's fair. AI, like I said, AI is another conversation, but
Yeah, I just
it's
think that there's a lot of fields that will be losing job. That's why I brought up AI. There's a lot of fields that will be losing demands because they're being replaced by automated in automated machine. People want to automate things. They want quick processing. They want things in and out. Look at Amazon Blueprint right now.
I think the quality of jobs that is brought here on a consistent basis doesn't equate to what this lifestyle really the lifestyle of the living in the United States actually should
But
equate out to be.
the sad reality is, if you do decide to level the playing field, the person who is supposed to be the house in this game loses, and they're not going to be willing to do that.
Yeah, no, and I get it. That's why I said there. That's the gap.
That's the
That's
most
the gap.
polite way to put it.
That's the gap that is never going to be fixed. It's because the house is always going to lose, and
Somebody's got to lose it, and it won't be the house.
nope, it will never. So that's why I said that's the major gap, and that gap right there, I think anybody should really look at it. Is no one's gonna give you whatever it is that you desire, that you want. You got to go out there and go get it yourself. Like there's no question about it. And if that means, hey, you being out of debt, I mean, you could go ahead and put yourself on a budget. These are little tactics and things that anyone can really do. Use the student loan forgiveness as a leg up to make sure you put yourself out of certain scenarios that you can use to then put yourself in a better situation. Because that gap there, yeah, no one's gonna solve that. The only person that could solve that is yourself. So that's kind of what I really want to get out of this conversation. It's just allow people to know that, yeah, student loan forgiveness is out there. We know if you can qualify for it, make sure you do all the necessary things to get it so that you can take advantage of it. But understand that this is an opportunity for you to take yourself to that next level.
What was your personal experience with student loan?
I mean, I don't have
Talk
any,
to us about your journey.
I don't have any bad experiences. I mean,
It doesn't have to be bad. Like how were you introduced to it? Like how, did you understand it from the get-go? Like did you go out there and ball out, Gucci this, Gucci that? Like
no, I did what I had to do to get through school. That's really it. If it wasn't student loans, I wouldn't have gotten through school. No question about it. So am I grateful for it? Absolutely. Do I hate it? Absolutely. Because it's just that. It's that I think anyone could have avoided if you had the proper education, the proper tools, resources at your disposal. But I didn't have that. So what am I going to do? It's very simple. What we already said earlier. I'm going to put myself in position to take care of my responsibility, right? Which I signed to take out all that debt. So I'm going to take care of that to then help the next generation not have to do that. That's the ultimate goal. So even if you understand it or you don't understand it, you sign that paper. That's your own fault. You can't blame nobody but yourself. Nobody put a gun to your head, told you to sign that. So if you want to blame somebody, go knock yourself out. Go blame whoever you want. But ultimately, your signature is there. So it's your responsibility. Just take care of your responsibility.
Right. That's true.
I mean, what do you? Yeah, it is. It is, especially how life can happen at high levels and low levels.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm in class right now, right? And this is just an example. First week, you have introduce yourself, blah blah blah. 37 posts. With second week discussion, everybody is supposed to post within a certain deadline. It's like 4. How you go
Life,
from 37 to 4?
life happens, but it's
All
also
right, no,
excitement.
that's what I'm going. That's what I'm saying. It's like, yeah, there's a lot going on.
It's
It's a
excitement, though.
lot.
I don't think
That's why I feel like I don't. Sometimes I feel like I'm not even qualified to be here talking about this, because it's like there's so many different ways to go about navigating life. We are all so unique, but yet we're all rooting on the same. Like, we all come from the same root. So it's like, how do we navigate through this madness together?
I think in that situation, and anyone can take really what I'm about to say in any scenario. I think it's the level of excitement, the emotions really is what dictates and what controls a lot of people when it comes to doing certain things when it's supposed to. I think when your emotion is really high, you're inclined to do things when necessary, when needed, when by the deadline. But when that excitement draws down, then I think that's when everything kind of shifts. And I think that's, I wouldn't say, of course, life happened, but if somebody was still excited and life happened, I think everyone would still do everything that they had to do when they needed to do it. It's just the level of excitement, I think, has changed, or the emotions, I should say. I shouldn't just say excitement.
All right, here's the question. Are you gonna pay like, if you had additional student loan, now that they pay this much, do you feel as though they're gonna pay the remainder of it, or are you gonna start paying your student loan when whatever's restriction is lifted?
Who's gonna pay the rest of it for me?
No, I'm saying, are you, like, if you had more, like, are you gonna make payments? No.
If I could, I would have already gotten rid of my student loans already. So I'm not really concerned about what anybody else is doing but myself and my situation. I can't look at other people. Everybody's situation is completely different from mine. As you mentioned, right? You have 4 people that submitted a deadline where first week 37. So I can't look at what other people are doing. I can only look at my scenario, my situation. How is it that I accomplish what it is that I'm trying to accomplish for myself? So am I going to wait for somebody? Absolutely not. I'm going to do what I have to do to put myself in a better position. And that's the only person I can bank on is myself. So to wait for somebody, I mean, I could be waiting to, I could be 6 feet under, still waiting. And I'm not about that. So I'm just going
Right.
to, and I think everybody should really use this, do what you have to do for yourself. And the moment you wait for somebody else to do it for you, you may be waiting forever. And you may not ever see that day where you can actually get that solution or whatever it is that you're waiting for. So take care of what you got to take care of. Use this as leverage. Use this as a stepping stool to that next step, that wherever it is that you're trying to go to. Don't just ponder and look at this and be like, oh my gosh, I wish I got more. I wish you're lucky you're getting something. I'll tell you that.
Right. But yeah, we are fortunate for those of us who have student loans to get that out the way.
Yeah.
And go about our business.
Just please don't end up at the strip clubs. Don't go to the clubs. And
Why is that the first thing you think about?
Because that's the first thing that everybody likes to do.
Bro, you have people, think about this. You have people who are like in their mid 50s,
You don't think people that are in the 50s go to the strip club?
I'm just saying.
You'll be surprised.
Bro, I'm just saying, or 40s, or any age for that matter, where they still have student loans, and they're like, that's a big burden to them, not even about the whole going to a strip club, but it's like,
my point was really just don't throw
don't
the
blow
money.
don't blow the money that you got.
Don't,
right,
exactly.
don't blow that.
That's it. You made me look like the victim here, but that's okay. Just really don't put the money in places that it doesn't belong. Put it in places that
So where would you be putting that money now then? So let's have a conversation about where that money should be going.
Everyone's situation is different. I mean, me personally, if it's up to me, I'm going to continue with all my bills. After my bills, then I go ahead and start investing. I invest more and more and more every opportunity I get. It's just simple. I mean, if you don't want to invest all of it, that is okay. 10%. That's all you really need to invest in. You got to pay yourself at some point in time to then be able to reap the rewards. Otherwise, you're just going to be in that continued cycle. And I mean, once you're in that cycle, it's hard to get out, as we all are witnessing with student loan debt.
All right. Yeah, let me give you a scenario. If I'm in high school, junior or sophomore, even a senior really, and I have decent part-time job, I'm getting paid, say what, what do they pay them these days? 13.50, whatever, 14 an hour. I don't know. And you want to start investing way before you even go to college. Where do you go?
How old is this person?
14.
This person 14. Well, first, this is not financial advice. This is just something that I would do. I would speak to your parent because you can't invest your money at that age.
Right.
So first, I would definitely speak to your parents and have them set up the account for you. I don't
Gotcha.
remember the name of it, but there's an account that they can set up for you. And I mean, at that age of 14, you really don't have much going on for yourself, much bills. So I
Yeah.
would be pouring literally 90% of my money into investments. Be looking out because essentially I'm looking out for my future at that point in time. You don't have
Gotcha.
bills, so I'm going to live off of the bare minimum, and I'm going to invest majority of it, if not all of it, so that I can go ahead and by the time I'm 20, 25 out of college or whatever, I have something to lean on that could give me that leg up against my peers within the world.
I
But
hear you.
I wish, because I was one of those guys at 14, 15, 16 working really early and working a lot. And instead of working really a lot and getting paid, I was putting that money elsewhere. Whereas if I was putting it towards myself and my future, yeah, my student loans would have been taken care of. I'll tell you that right now.
Right.
My student loans would have been washed.
Really, man, the focus is just leveling up. Cause I know the life I want, I'm just setting it up. Removing those that's close who try messing it up. Can't wait for champagne toast with the relevant bunch. Like, what's up? Yeah. Like, what you do, homie? What's your vision? How you thinking? How you move, homie? And is you cool, homie? You thinking building, then that's something we could do, homie.